Instead of selling you something today, I am here to teach you my favorite tricks for calming down on demand, figuring out how to stop your mind from racing. And what I know from my own experience and from talking to thousands of parents is that some of us, many of us, I don't know the percentages, can fall asleep. We're feeling so tired. We fall asleep, right, by crashing in the evening. We finally get the kids to bed. We finally fall asleep. Maybe we fall asleep in their beds because we're just so tired. And then something wakes us up in the middle of the night and our mind is just on. Our mind is on all the time and it becomes impossible to shut it off. It can keep you awake for hours in the middle of the night, even if you're exhausted. Or maybe you're the person who stays up and can't fall asleep, even though you are tired to the bone, but your mind is so wired and it's so revved up that you just can't settle down. Now, this happens because as parents, we are constantly in a state of what needs to be done, what hasn't been done, and a state of triage of like what absolutely needs to be done right now. And we're constantly tasking and we're constantly thinking about what hasn't gotten done, what's getting done now, and what still needs to get done. And it's just this never-ending list of things that can occupy your mind. And after a while, that process, that feeling of thinking about things, what did I already do? What needs to be done? And what am I doing right now? Right? It's that never-ending to-do list. It becomes in your brain, it becomes a pathway for it to function. And it becomes sort of an addictive process for your brain that it becomes impossible for it to shut off. It's like constantly training in this particular way so that anytime it's awake, it's going to be processing in this way because that's what it's become comfortable doing. So that's why that happens. So if you're somebody who can't fall asleep or you wake up in the middle of the night and can't fall back to sleep and you're just consumed with worry and your brain is like, a bullet train of thoughts just kind of flying through, or you're consumed with worry and you're thinking about things that happened that made you so worried, or things that are happening now that are consuming your worry, or your future tripping and you're thinking about what's going to happen in the future, what could happen in the future, and you start playing out all those scenarios. I remember having these like mental flow charts in my head, about scenarios big and small with my kids, like, anything from food plans. I've got one picky eater in particular. If that doesn't work out, then I'll plan this thing, and if that doesn't work out, then this will happen. But if it does work out, then this will happen. It's like all these mental flowcharts, from the mundane to like food, to family trips, or to school choices, or to summer camps for the kids. Anything that required a decision, my brain would just like go into high gear and start flow charting it out. And that is definitely a sign of anxiety, of an anxious mind. And it's not always a problem if you're having a certain amount of anxiety, but when it tips over into keeping you up at night, when it tips over into worry, when it becomes a part of your physiology and you become so stressed out with thought that the stress actually starts washing over your body and you can't turn it off, that becomes a problem. So I'm just here to help you name it, help you understand what's going on a little bit, and most importantly, how to slow it down. And for those of you who don't know me very well, I've been doing this work with parents for years, and I help parents with problems big and small. And what I really enjoy doing is helping parents figure out How to shortcut things that I had to figure out the hard way with my own children. And I had a head start on parenting because I was working with other people's kids for years before I had kids of my own. So by the time I became a parent, I was really very well prepared in certain ways to manage my kids' behavior and discipline them in a way that felt good for me. So I was able to do those things. But what I wasn't prepared for was the amount of emotional triggering that I would experience raising my own kids. I had never been so sleep fatigued. I had never been so consumed with the weight of responsibility that I felt when I had my first child. I was like, oh my gosh, this is on my watch. Like his life and his well-being, his everything is on my watch. And I just felt the gravity of that so heavily. And it started a very early process for me in my own mind of being hyper alert, hyper vigilant, and really unable to slow things down. So I had to learn a whole new set of skills myself to handle my insides. I could handle the outsides with my kids pretty well, and that's, a lot of what I teach parents is how to do that. But then there's this whole inner game that happens, which is really about how do you manage your internal landscape? How are you growing inside as your children are growing on the outside? What are they triggering in you that will come up and might make you feel really impatient or really anxious or really angry on a dime, and you either know why or you don't know why. And there are all these things that come up that constitute our inner game of parenting. And from where I sit, it's such a wonderful opportunity to grow as an individual. And it's such an opportunity to learn and to have your children be your teachers. But there's a struggle in there. It's not always easy. And especially, I just want to give a shout out to you if you have a child who does not have a very sunny, easy temperament. A lot of parents have kids who are challenging from day one. Either they're colicky or they don't sleep, or they are, they don't eat very well, or they become picky eaters or fussy eaters, or changing the diaper is, a nightmare. And, meanwhile, all of the books and all of the other parents seem to be talking about these scenarios that really don't apply. And, I had both of my kids are strong-willed, and they're challenging in different ways. And listen, parenting is hard no matter what. And kids are challenging no matter what. But if you've got a kid who sort of doesn't do what all the books are saying they're going to do, and all of the methods, the typical discipline methods, the typical ways of parenting aren't really sinking in with your kid. You're not getting the behavior that you want. You're not getting the cooperation that you want, and you're trying to be calm, and your kid just keeps setting you off and setting you off and setting you off. Then you're going to have to be utilizing a different set of tools in addition to that stuff. And the whole set of tools has to do with keeping yourself calm and being able to then access all of the other parenting ideas, creative parenting solutions that are probably in your mind somewhere, or if they're not in your mind, you're able to learn them, but you're not able to access all of the good stuff if you're not calm. So what I'm leaning into right now is helping parents learn how to be calm. And whether your child sets you off a little bit, like whether they just push your buttons a little bit and you want to be calmer, or your child is somebody who really like slams your buttons and triggers you all the time and you find yourself feeling really impatient, this is going to help for you. And I'm going to teach you 2 methods to calm down. And the other thing that I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks is I'm going to be offering a 5-minute calm kit for parents to get and stay calm. And so I want you to be on the lookout for that, because I'm really excited about it. I've pulled all of my best calm down techniques into one batch for you. They are stress tested by myself and hundreds of my clients, and I know that they're going to work for you too. So keep your eye out for emails talking about that as well. All right. So when you're up in the middle of the night with worry, consumed with worry, and your mind is racing and you can't turn it off, I have a trick for you, and I want to share that with you now. A trick for you to get calm. When your mind is racing, when you can't turn it off, when you're up, you're bolted awake, and you're just like, what if this happens? What if that happens? This almost happened. This needs to happen. And you're just consumed with worry. It's really important that you know how to calm down really fast so that you can get back to sleep and you can actually be the calm parent that you want to be the next day. Because the more you're awake in the middle of the night, the more tired you're going to be the next day and the less calm you're going to be with your kids the next day. So that's where all this is going. So here's my favorite technique for getting calm when you find your mind racing. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. And it goes like this. You take 5 things that you can see and you name them. And then you take 4 things that you can feel in your body. And then you take 3 deep breaths. Then you take 2 things that you can hear. And then you say 1 nice, loving thing to yourself. So that's the 5-4-3-2-1. And now I'm going to walk you through it. So let's talk about the things that you see. The 5 things that you see, you want to name them in as much detail as you can. And I'll give you the very quick biological reason for this. The more that you can say what you're seeing, the more that you can use words, the more you're pulling yourself into a more calm state of mind. And the more that you pull yourself into the present moment of what you're actually seeing and into the sensations of your body, which is what this exercise is all about, the more calm you will feel, and you'll stop future tripping and you'll stop doing that past, it's usually regret when you play things over and over in your mind, what happened in the past, and you're full of regret. You want to stay as centered in the present moment as possible to calm yourself down. So the 5 things that you see, let's practice it now. So I'm going to do that as an example for you myself. So 5 things that I see right now. I see a beige wall. I see a pink mug. I have my tea mug right here. I see a black camera that I'm looking into right now. And in my own screen there, I see a green plant and I see a white candle. So notice that I'm giving them an adjective too. I'm not just saying candle, plant, camera, right? I'm saying a color to go along with it. And that's about as much detail as you need. Now, if you're doing this one in the middle of the night and you can't see it, you can imagine what your room looks like and you can picture it in your mind's eye, and you can very gently say to yourself, white wall, green picture, whatever's hanging in your room, picture it in your mind, blue blanket, beige carpet, and say it to yourself as you're seeing it in your mind's eye. You don't have to actually physically see it. So does that make sense that you can use it just in your imagination? Okay. And by the way, this is a trick to use in the middle of the night, but of course you can use this during the day as well when you find yourself leaping out of the present moment to future worry or past regret, or both. Okay, so that's the 5 things that you see. And then we move into 4 things that you feel. Now, at any time, any place, anywhere, anyhow, you can tune into the sensations of your body and feel 4 things. And you can tune into the upper part of your body and the lower part of your body if this isn't something that you're used to doing. But for example, right now I'm sitting. And so I can feel my hands in my lap. My hands are resting in my lap. So that would be 1, my hands in my lap. I can feel my bottom on the chair. That would be 2. The 3rd thing I feel are my feet on the floor. That would be 3. And I feel the chair back, the chair rest against my back. That would be 4. If you're lying down in bed, you might feel your head on the pillow. You might feel your feet touching each other. You might feel your shoulders on the mattress. And if you're really, searching for something, you're kind of at a loss. You can always do something like this with your fingers, or you can put your hands on your face or put your hands on your heart, which is a very soothing act. Any of those things would count, even if you're creating it yourself. Okay, so that 4 things that you feel. Then we move into 3 deep breaths. Now, here's where I want to give you some really specific instruction, because a lot of people tell parents to take deep breaths and so that they calm down. And the only thing is that most of the time there's not instruction on how to take a deep breath that will actually calm you down. So I'm going to do that right now. When you breathe deeply, in order for it to be effective and a calming breath, is you really want to be inflating your belly on your inhale, and then you want to be deflating your belly on the exhale. So like a balloon, if you picture your belly, it would inflate as you breathe in, fill up and fill out. And then on your exhale, it's going to empty of air and it's going to come back to its resting position. Most of us, when we're taking a deep breath, we try to do it from our chest and we go, and actually our stomach sucks back in, and it's the opposite of what we need to be doing. So even if you're trying to take a deep breath to calm yourself down, but you're doing it from up in your chest and your belly is contracting, you're not going to get the benefits, the calming benefits of taking that deep breath in the way that I just described. So let's do that together now. When you're taking a deep breath, inflate your belly and expand it. So inhale, and then exhale, deflate your belly. And then inhale, inflate, and then exhale, deflate. And one more time, inhale, and then exhale, let it all go. So that would be your 3 deep breaths. Then we're going to move to the 2. The 2 is 2 things that you hear. Now, anytime during the day, if you're doing this practice, you're probably going to hear your kids, or you're going to hear the hum of a refrigerator, but you might have to get really quiet if you happen to be in a quiet room to really listen. And if you're doing this practice late at night, you may not hear really anything. Maybe there's in the distance a dog barking, or maybe in the distance there's some, horn honking or something. But you can always, always, always find your own breath. You can always hear your own inhale and your own exhale. So even if you're in a silent place, that could be the 2 things that you hear. And if you get really good, you can tune in, you can plug up your ears, and you can hear your own heart beating, which can be a very soothing sound. Okay, and then we get to the 1. The 1 is the one thing that you're going to say to yourself that is kind and loving. And this is taps into a larger practice of self-compassion and self-care and self-love, which is really great. And there's tons and tons and tons of research about this. But in a nutshell, the importance of saying something kind to ourselves is that when we are kind to ourselves, the more that we are able to accept ourselves and love ourselves and be kind to ourselves, that's the practice of self-kindness and self-compassion, the more we are calm inside and we're able to show that kindness and that compassion outward as well. So of course, when this relates to our kids, it's super important. If we're busy beating ourselves up, then what happens is in our own minds, we're beating ourselves up, we're telling ourselves we suck, and I'm terrible, and I'm the worst parent, why do I do that, blah, blah. All of that negativity washes over us, and our bodies don't know that it's just story. First of all, it's just BS. And it also doesn't know, our brains and our bodies don't know, that it's not real in the sense that nobody else is really telling us that. It doesn't know the difference between us telling ourselves negative talk and somebody else actually saying it to us. So it's as if we've been sitting in a room listening to somebody say horrible things to us all day, which is only going to put us in a really fragile state of mind, and a state of mind in which we're going to be very unkind to the next person who interacts with us. If you've been sitting there hearing crappy stuff about yourself, and then somebody walks in, they're like, hey, how are you doing? Right? Knowing nothing about what that dialogue that was just going on, you'd be like, fine, whatever. Not happy to see them, not open, not receptive, not in any kind of loving place. That's what happens when we say negative things to ourselves. If we is that we shut ourselves down. And then when our kids come along and kind of, innocently want to play, or they want to say something, we're like, leave me alone, or I just want to, that's our energy, right? Leave me alone, or I'm just finishing my coffee, we're just mad at them. And they're like, why did that happen? They don't know that it's us feeling bad about ourselves. They interpret that as they did something wrong. So it's really important from a parenting perspective to be saying kind things to yourself. That was a very long explanation for this one thing, because it actually is really important. So the one in this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice is saying something kind and loving to yourself, and make sure that it's something that is soothing and that's believable. I'm not really into self-talk where people are like, I'm the greatest, I'm the best that ever lived. Like all that hype, it's not believable to your system. It kind of rejects it as BS, because like it's too big, it's too grandiose. So say something that's believable, kind, and loving to yourself. Something like, I'm trying my best, or I love myself, or I'm trying to love myself, or I'm a good person and I'm doing good in the world. At least I'm trying, something that is believable and kind to yourself. Okay. So that's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice. And I'm just going to review it quickly here. It's 5 things that you see. It's 4 things that you feel, 3 deep breaths, 2 things that you hear, and 1 loving, kind, believable thing to yourself about yourself. And I love that practice, and I use it all the time. And you can run through it as many times as you want to or need to in order to get present, so that you can slow it down, slow your mind down, slow your breathing down, slow your brain down, slow that bullet train of thoughts down. And eventually, if you're doing this at night, get back to sleep. And if you're doing it during the day, just become more present and more calm in your own body. And this is something that if you like this idea, if you practice it and you like it, or you just even did it with me right now and it feels good, then I want you to keep an eye out for my Calm Kit, which is coming in a couple of weeks, full of calm down practices, ways to get calm and stay calm. So I'm going to be bringing that to the table in a couple of weeks. Just keep your eye out for that. Okay, great. Okay, so the next practice I want to share with you is hooking onto that last element that I talked about, with which had to do with positive self-talk and self-compassion. And this is actually a loving kindness meditation. And what I love about loving kindness meditations is that they are so generous in their giving. And it has to do not only with showing love and compassion for yourself, but also love and compassion for other people. But when we start, the whole idea about self-kindness and loving kindness aimed at yourself is that it does soothe the system. It does calm things down. And when you're soothed and when you're calm, you're able to give that to other people, like your children. So the second method of calming down in the middle of the night, or even during the day, if you find yourself worried or anxious because you're jumping to the future, or you find yourself regretful and feeling awful because you're replaying things that happened in the past, one way to get out of that is to do a loving kindness meditation. And it's super simple. So I want to walk you through it right now. You take these phrases that I'm about to tell you, and you direct them first at yourself, and then you spread them out farther and farther. So the phrase is, we're going to start with ourselves. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. And may I be at peace. Now, if you're somebody who's familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is an ancient practice, and this goes right along with his hierarchy of needs: safety, and then and health, and love, and belonging, and then eventually reaching your highest level. So that's just kind of a cool thing to tie in there. But for those of you who either don't know about Maslow's hierarchy or don't care, or I'm nerding out too much, it's fine too. This will work wonders for you whenever you choose to use it. So we're going to go through this again. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. And may I be at peace. That's the statement. And we say that to ourselves. And then we're going to picture other people, and I'm going to guide you through this so that you can feel the benefits of a loving kindness meditation. And again, all of this is in service of helping you be a calmer, happier person so that you can be a calmer, happier parent. Because what I hear day in and day out from parents is that they just want to be calmer and happier. They don't always know how to get there. And especially if they have a challenging child, that child is pressing their buttons and they're triggering them all the time. And the parents are just in this cycle of negativity with their kids. This can be a really helpful tool to use when you're feeling like you're just kind of maxed out and you need something to do beyond just like taking a little time out for yourself. Like you need something to do during that time out in order to make it effective. Because if you're just stepping away from your kids and then you're coming right back and you haven't done anything to really reset yourself, it's not really going to do much good. So let's start with this loving kindness meditation. So if you want, you can close your eyes, and if you want, you can keep your eyes open. Put your hand on your heart. This is a very soothing action. And say these phrases to yourself. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I be at peace. And then I want you to picture somebody who you love unconditionally and uncomplicatedly, which is a word I just made up, without any complications. This person calls, this person texts, this person shows up, and you are happy to see this person. It might even be not a person. It might be your dog or your cat, or I don't know what else there could be, but it doesn't have to be a person. Picture that creature, that being in your mind's eye. You can keep your hand on your heart if it feels good. And direct these phrases to that person or that creature. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you be at peace. And just picture yourself delivering that message to that person or being. And now I want you to imagine someone or something that you feel sort of neutral about. That maybe it's the person at the grocery store or the post office or the Amazon delivery person. You don't really know them. Maybe you would recognize them, maybe, or they're familiar to you in some way, but you don't really know them. They don't trigger you one way or the other. And we're going to direct the same phrases to that person. So hold that person in your mind's eye. Again, it could be a creature, it could be somebody else's dog. I don't know. Maybe you feel neutral about that. And we say for that person, toward that person, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you be at peace. And now here comes the tricky one. We're going to pull to our mind's eye someone who holds complicated feelings for us. And this could be your most difficult child at the moment. It could be your most challenging child, or it could be a relative, maybe somebody who you spent Thanksgiving with or Zoomed Thanksgiving with, and this person, you want to love them, but it's sometimes it's really hard to love that person. We all have somebody like that. But somebody who actually gives you a negative charge, somebody who you're like, I'm not really always crazy about this person. And it is okay if it is your own child right now, because that's a very real thing. And we want to get in the habit of expressing compassion toward that person so we can open up to that person. So hand on your heart and direct these phrases at that person, the challenging person in your life. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you be at peace. That is the loving kindness meditation. And that is the order in which to say the phrases. It is also the order in which to direct it first to yourself and then to other people. Because it follows the whole logic of you can't give other people what you yourself don't have. If somebody came up to you and asked you for $1 and you reached into your pocket and your pocket was empty, you couldn't give them $1. You have to be able, right? You have to be able to give to yourself first, so that you are then able to give to other people. Otherwise, you're just giving emptiness and you're giving with resentment. And that won't work for anybody. So whether you're using this in the middle of the night or you're using this in the middle of the day, it doesn't matter. The time to use a loving kindness meditation is when you're feeling riled up inside, when you are really stressed out about a moment, or big or small, or a challenge, or a behavior that your child is showing. Showing yourself loving kindness and then spreading it outward will help you calm down so that you can access the best parenting methods, the best parenting techniques that you want to use that feel good in your family. And if you're looking for methods and techniques, if you don't have them, if you're like, well, once I calm down, I don't always know what to do either. I just go back to yelling because that's what my mom did, or that's what my dad did. Then I've got a whole bunch of techniques for you that I'd love to teach you. And those are in my course, my parenting transformation course. But in the short term, the Calm Kit that I am going to be launching in a couple of weeks, which I'm super excited about. I've worked really hard on it to just pull my best calm down methods into one batch for parents. I'm going to be sending out information about that really soon. So please keep your eye out. It's going to be really low cost. I was keeping the holidays and COVID and everything in mind. It's going to be under $20, and you're going to get an amazing amount of material and value and help so that you can be the calm, happy parent I know you want to be. And I know you can be. Maybe you just need a little help, and there's no shame in that. I had to figure it out the hard way. I had to figure it out by myself. And what I want to do for parents is give you the shortcut and give you all the tips and all the tricks and all the best practices that I know work in one easy to use package. So that's what the Calm Kit is going to be. And like I said, it's coming your way soon. So keep an eye out for it. Check me out on Instagram. I'm going to be launching it there, and I'll be mentioning it in this Facebook, in my Facebook group as well. And if you're on my email list, great. I'll send information there too. But I want you to have this information so that you can feel great at the end of the night when you've put your kids to bed and you're lying there and you're like, I was calm today. I rocked it today. I know how to do this. I have tools now. This is what would make me so happy and would make my holiday season feel so good, is if you had the tools that I wish I had had a long time before I had them. So if I can get those to you and wrapped up with a nice little bow this season, then that would be the best gift to me, would be that I can give it to you. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.